All right, folks, thanks for sticking around tonight for our weather update here at the grandsolarminimum.com. One of my new favorite maps. We use these on the daily now with our solar updates. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit. More weather for the northwestern part of Kansas, but the good news is that storm, that cell that was coming out of Colorado into northwestern Kansas, looks like it is diminishing a little bit. But there is a new line of heavy rain showers that has formed on the far western part of Nebraska and the far eastern part of Colorado. Go ahead and highlight this area. So we still want to keep our eyes on which direction. Right now, this storm is moving due east. Matt, heads up, buddy. You're in the slight area for severe weather, but usually, guys, this year, when they show these levels of severity, like this is light, this is marginal, this is slight, guys, usually when we get to that yellow area, it's almost dead on, especially when they mark a red area inside the yellow, inside the dark green, inside the light green. That prediction is almost 100% accurate. So right now, the affected areas that we could be watching is across Kansas, southern Nebraska, into Missouri, St. Louis. You're in the pathway of this, same with Kansas City, and then into western Illinois overnight tonight. As far as showers for the Great Lakes, Michigan, Traverse City, South Bend, Indiana, Chicago, Illinois, some typical thunderstorms. Across the South, South Carolina, North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina, that is. Still looking at stormy weather off and on tonight. It almost seems like it's just been raining nonstop in the south and southeast, especially in the Florida area. The Tampa starting to break up now. Lighter showers continue to move across Florida. Let me move this up a little bit so we can see Florida. And a good chance for severe weather tonight here in central New York and upstate New York as well. Marginal chance for the rest of the Northeast, except for the East Coast side of Maine as well. And really just some showers moving across Montana. That is our current weather. Now let me zoom out here. Let me see if I can find something for you folks out there. I do feel a little okay. So let's take a look at our regular DFS run. And yes, Tropical Storm Krosa makes landfall near Hiroshima, Japan. 1 dead, at least 40 injured. This is just now happening. Tropical Storm Krosa has made landfall Thursday afternoon. The city of Kure near Hiroshima in southern Japan. Large areas were evacuated. Look at the size of this thing. 400,000 people were advised to evacuate. Pretty decent sized storm. We will keep you updated on the conditions of that as well. Let's put this radar in motion here, guys, at windy.com. If it's going to work for me. Hello. So again, watching this storm in Japan, lots of activity in the Pacific Ocean. Thank you, Mari, for making me alert to that situation as well. Let's go ahead and go into our GFS outlook. We just looked at our local weather. Now let's take a look and see what's going to happen over the next few days, and we'll try to see what that storm is going to look like. More moisture being pumped through the Ohio Valley through the 19th, early next week. The south, you're continuing to see your scattered storms. Northeast and Ohio Valley still getting storms and showers. Also by midweek, Nebraska, Kansas picking up your wet pattern, as that will flow eastward as well across the south again. Lots of tropical moisture in the Gulf by the 22nd, and we are starting to see a little bit of development, but not the kind of development we were seeing earlier this week for the 23rd and 24th. Again, we're trying to stay focused on a possibility of something happening because we've seen several model runs where we do have a low pressure system. Now, here's that one system we were talking about, possibly hitting Southern California. That does not look to be happening at all as well. So as we look at this next model run, and this has taken us all the way to the 1st of September. First of all, lots of moisture in the United States. That high pressure that's sitting right here off of the East Coast is what is driving this moisture to stay in the same. It's almost like if that high pressure stays there, it's a conveyor belt. It's dragging the moisture from the tropics and pulling it up. It's rotating around this high. All right. And it's pretty firm. This high pressure system is not moving. So, with that being said, moving all the way into September 1st, the 18Z does not have, and maybe this right here is an indication of a storm. So the difference between the last storm that we had that we saw, it actually held up and was somewhat of a storm. We keep seeing it pop up and then it disorganizes and then it pops back up. And that's September 1st. Let's check the 00Z forecast model. And I checked this one because this is where we first saw that storm. Again, lots of tropical moisture. The Gulf, the South, the Southeast, parts of the Northeast. So this might be the slowest start to hurricane season in the record books, folks. Not showing up there either. Take a look at the 6. I mean, every model run we look at, there is no sign right here. Okay, so the 6 is showing something approaching on the 24th. And again, I think this model right here, the 06Z, has been showing this particular scenario every time we've watched it, except it was further east last time over New Orleans. So here's one model that has a possibility of a disturbance, but not a hurricane by any means whatsoever. We can also clearly see a cold front moving through the northeast. That low pressure system really ushering in possibly some really cool air behind it after these storms pass through late August through the Midwest. And look how low that high pressure dips down. Let's check out the temperatures. So far, folks, we're not seeing this particular storm that a lot of people are making a lot of noise about. GFS not showing, really indicating a huge temperature decrease. In fact, we are going to see a little bit warmer weather here at the end of the month. I did notice AccuWeather has updated their forecast. We will actually be in some kind of a summer type pattern in the next few days. We will touch 90 up here in the capital region, but after that 4 or 5 days of 80s and maybe a possibility of 90-degree weather, it will start to drop once again. So here we are this Sunday. Beautiful weather, by the way, folks. Daytime highs in New York. Look at that. On Sunday, that's what I was talking about. The 90-degree mark is possible for Albany, New York. So that heat is going to ridge all the way up the East Coast. And this is not untypical to see 90-degree weather this close to the coast. Honestly, folks, it's not. This does happen when you get these heat waves and when the heat ridges up. But daytime highs for North Dakota, South Dakota, and Nebraska, you guys are looking at 60s and 70s. Minnesota, Wisconsin, same story. Daytime highs. Warm weather will continue into Monday for the Northeast. Parts of Ohio in the mid-80s. That's where you should be in the summertime. Kansas, Nebraska, definitely increasing the temperature a little bit. By Tuesday, the daytime highs start to come back down to normal for most of the Northeast. Still another day in the upper 80s, though, before we start to see it cool down a little bit on Thursday, August 22nd, where daytime highs will drop to 75 degrees on the 22nd of August. So Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and the rest of the Northeast is going to see some relief from this heat that's coming up. Starting on Saturday, it's going to start increasing on the heat here for us here in the Northeast and parts of the East as well. The South and the Southeast and Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, it's summertime for you guys for sure here for the next few days. Also, lots of heat out in Arizona, Phoenix in the triple digits, Southern California also in the upper 90s. I just saw where San Francisco broke an all-time record the other day on their daily temperature highs. Look at that. August 23rd, daytime or nighttime lows were getting in the lower 50s in the Northeast. The highs on Saturday, August 24th, completely different, 72 degrees. So enjoy that summer heat, New York, this weekend, because next weekend's not going to be the same. Same with Ohio and the Northern Plains, the South and the Central Plains, more the same, summer heat. Same with the West and the Southwest. Next weekend we are, guys. Tries to get back into the 80s again next weekend for the Northeast and the Ohio valleys. It does have some minor success, but the temperatures start to cool down a little bit here towards the end of August, which they should. 70s across Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and Pennsylvania, and New York by the beginning of the following week, Monday, August 26th. And then we go into the end of August. Temperatures start. Look at that. Texas. Hallelujah. 69 degrees for the high temperature on Tuesday, August 27th. Dallas, you're going to be in the 70s. How about that? Hang on, folks. The heat will start to diminish. And as you look at the high here on the 28th, yeah, we still got 80s and 90s, but lesser of an area of those temperatures. And then we go into the 30th of August. I'm sorry, the 29th of August, which is a Thursday. Less 90s, more 80s. Trying to creep up again to the Northeast, but by Friday, August 30th, summer is going to try to hang on for as long as it can. And it does warm up quite a bit here at the end of August. So, what does that mean? Well, we also starting to see a cool down in the Northwest and the central part of the United States. So when there's heat, there's cool. And when there's cool, there's heat. So it'll be interesting to see and looking at these daytime highs on September 1st. Folks like myself in the capital region, that's not a mistake. The daytime high in Albany forecasted for September 1st is 59 degrees. So after all this heat and these 80s and possible 90s that are coming up, it's very possible that we could see a 40-degree temperature drop within a 24-hour period, maybe even a 36-hour period. But still, far away to talk about. But the one thing that was important tonight on the GFS forecast models were the talks of a possible hurricane that is just not forming, and GFS does not like it. Now, I could look at the Euro and all that stuff, sure, but the GFS has been really good to me this year, 2019. A lot better than what it was in 2017, that's for sure. So I'm going to continue to kind of go with this GFS model. I think it's been realistic for the most part. And even if it's late reporting the storm, it still finally gets its act together and gets in line with the rest of the models when it's time to show the storm. Right now, I'm not saying not be prepared because we have lots of moisture coming in because of this low pressure system that won't leave the eastern part of the United States. It continues to rotate that moisture in from the tropics, the Gulf, into the South, Ohio Valley, the East Coast, all the way up into the Northeast. So a shift on moisture, definitely for the eastern part of the United States, from the south to the east, all the way to the northeast. Central Plains will get its typical waves as well, but the majority of this moisture is going to stay the Ohio Valley, the Atlantic states, the Northeast, and the South for the most part. Mari, did you have anything you would like to add before we exit the airwaves tonight? It's been a pretty decent broadcast, I would say, but lots to talk about, I'm sure, in the chat.
Not too shabby, Jake. Thank you.
We try. We try.
Wonderful broadcast. Av Team, he came busting into the chat today, and he's like, he doesn't say hi or anything. He just jumps right in. 2 feet. He put, apparently these idiots forget people eating steaks also have knives on them. Don't yell at them about the eating meat.
No, I get it.
Steak knives, all that funny. It made me laugh. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I would like to thank Daniel for the super chat. Daniel, that's very kind. Thank you very, very much. Also, I want to give a shout out, because I promised this the other day, to our Patreons. We don't really have a lot of Patreons, but we really appreciate these people that support our channel on a monthly basis on that platform. So shout outs to Richard, Niles, Rod, Catherine, Melinda, Douglas, Liz, Rednick Howley, nice name, Mike, Terry, Robbie, Kathy, Dustin, Kevin, Sandra, Marlon, Candace, Thomas, Elise, and that is it for that. I meant that I think we have like 18 people that fund us monthly. It's like $1 up to $5. I think most of our people donate to us on a monthly basis, and I have never officially listed them out like that. We really truly appreciate that you do that for us to support our channel. Thank you. Let's see what else I got in here. Matt Naya says, Jake, when the primaries come around, we'll be in weekend after weekend of winter storms and then spring flooding next year. So let's see if they still ignore the cooling in GSM. Such a great point, huh?
Yeah, and that very good point, because I know most of these games are going to be televised, and it will be interesting to see how many football games, college and pro, that we'll witness being played in the snow, because we don't. I know if you're a fan of this sport, you like watching the snow games. They're entertaining to watch. You don't get to see them as much, but they do happen from time to time. So you're right. The proof, if it happens a lot this year, and especially next spring, if it's worse than this spring, is that going to affect Major League Baseball worse than it has in the last 2 years?
Let's see. Daniel put no sunny side up bags, no hot dogs, no electricity. Can't poop but 3 times a week. More, please. And then I put, don't forget to eat your bugs.
Yeah, you throw that one in there too. Why not?
I mean, it's unreal. It really is. I call them, what did I call them in the chat? Extreme domestic terrorists.
Something.
What they're not liberals, they're not Democrats.
They're homegrown somehow.
They're some sort of new breed, hybrid, weird, extremist domestic terrorists. That's what I look at them as. Anyway, Matthew Bros put, hopefully Trump gets Greenland bought. I read that article the other day to Jake, and I was like, oh my God, that's huge. Like, can you imagine if he actually is able to negotiate that?
Greenland?
The purchase of Greenland. Fantastic. It's just very interesting.
I think it would
historic.
Be well, that, and it would reveal a lot of truth. We'd finally get the real answers for once.
Really interesting. And then Doug Ellens had to get it out of his system. He's like, hey GSM, bring GSM umbrellas, Ellas, and then he actually mocked the Rihanna song.
That's not a bad idea. GSM umbrellas.
Well, speaking of
GSM, GSM,
we might have to do a parody. We are known for doing parody songs, aren't we, Jake?
We could, but I mean, honestly, is there anything really funny about this?
No, there isn't. That's why it's no fun, but sometimes you need to be lighthearted and have a laugh.
We'll just make fun of other people.
But that's what Man Bear Pig is for.
Man Bear Pig and Commander of the Sun. You know,
we have the Commander of the Sun to have a laugh at.
We can have laughs.
Okay.
All right.
Anyway, speaking of Commander of the Sun, I was also talking about maybe having that live call-in show. I think especially the election season and all the topics that are going to come up, we might have some edgy things we want to cover, and I think I really want to do that on the other channel.
Why not?
Just I want to have it on a separate channel just because
speaking of which,
get a little crazy.
Just so the folks out there, Dr. Circus and Jeff Harmon, we both were able to speak with both of those guys. We didn't forget you guys. We are still currently in the middle of a pile of work. Maria is trying to get to those interviews as fast as possible, but stay patient with us. We will release those eventually. I know we had those talks a couple weeks ago, but I don't know if you guys have noticed, but Maria has been busting her butt fighting the Man Bear Pig rhythms of YouTube and trying to get our channel back into the noticed category once again. So please bear with us. We will get to those as soon as possible.
Matt Naya says, Mari and Jake, if you make a t-shirt, I will buy one. We actually do sell loads. I love art and design, and I have some really interesting things on our t-shirt store, like Cosmic Rays. Yep. That's my favorite shirt.
Mine's the
Cool Cat.
The cool cat's in the picture of Al's face being frozen in ice. That's Classic.
Well, anyway, I have the link on our website, thegrandsolarminimum.com, and there currently is a promotion for 15% off using the promo code GSMLOVE. I don't know if I got anything. I think that's all I got. I really enjoyed chatting with everyone in the chat. Thank you for taking time out of your day to spend this hour and 20 minutes with us. We really appreciate it.
Conversation is key, guys. We're going to make awareness. We got to talk about it. It's uncomfortable when you're trying to talk to somebody about this that is outside of this community, but the proof will be right in front of their face. It'll get easier and easier to talk about once things that you've already told your friends and family are going to happen start happening. And I know some of my family and friends are starting to pay attention because they're noticing the things that I've been talking about and they're happening. I'm not a predictor or forecaster or, crystal ball or anything like that. I'm just following the education and the instructions that I've received on what happens during these solar cycles and what we can expect when you have increased cosmic rays and more cloud coverage. All right, that's going to do it for us tonight, guys. This has been an awesome week. We appreciate everyone's support and love that's been with us all week this week. We will be back live Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Also, another solar update will start back up on Monday in the mornings. Until next week, guys, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And check us out, Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and all over the internet as well. Mari has got us everywhere, so I'm sure you can find us. All right, guys, that's going to do it for tonight. Thanks for tuning in, and we will talk soon. Take care, guys.